So let's work on that. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm here. All right, sir. My name is Bright. Here's my question, sir. I know that um, before what we're experiencing currently in the industry, Nollywood got to be known in the world because individual producers invested money to make films, and that's how Nollywood got very popular. Now, these men, they made a lot of money. A lot of them made a lot of money. There used to be a time where marketers are more or less seen like the gods of the industry. They made resources. They may look minute, but these people we know then, a lot of them made a lot of money and they made a lot of stars. Even when there wasn't much money in the industry, even when we're not as educated as we are now. But these films may not be the best of films as at then, but we know we had good stories now. But we had a lot of export.
And so this is invaluable information. The thing that I would ask is about how, when you were talking about the funding, the resources that are available here versus how things are available in the U.S. market, et cetera. I really believe in the power of co-productions as a way to this brother's point, the fees that are going to be offered here locally to filmmakers here for the same quality of content is not going to be the same, right? However, if you do co-productions, there's way more resources to pull from, right? And then those fees can then build infrastructure here, right? So I'm curious if you have thought about building infrastructure that allows you to tap into the fees and the resources abroad as a way to bring it back here, and as a part of that deal, force the larger players to also create a learning and education infrastructure here to further build the building here.
All right, so Baba just took it out of my mouth. So we have the National Theatre, which is supposed to be a world-class facility, but over the past 40 years, the government has not spent enough money in terms of getting it to where it ought to be. But we have, in the last 18 months, invested huge sums of money, all right, in trying to create and make sure we have the right facilities for all of these things. Never will be enough, not just yet, but it's a good starting point. Outside of the National Theatre, we have created several co-funding arrangements, all right, where we're basically creating the spaces required for different aspects of the creative sector. So for music, for films, for filmmaking, for even for having shows at the end of that whole ecosystem, so that people can do everything that they require. Apart from the fact that the actual recording and all that may be in different parts, but you can have a proper show there. So it's started, all right. I don't think we need the 100 years you needed to get to where you got to in Los Angeles now, all right. I think we can leapfrog, and I think these conversations which we're having right now, that is how this thing starts, all right. And in 5 years, in 10 years, we will be at par. If that National Theatre truly happens, it's yet another stage. With what the governor of Lagos State said yesterday, a big facility is being created in Ekwe on 100 hectares. Please, by the time we do several more of those things, and with some of the suggestions you're coming up with, just by reaching out to people in the international markets, all right, it will make that difference. We've seen it in banking. And trust me, Nigerian bankers are as good as you get anywhere else. And we're so proud of what we've done because, look, we built huge refineries. We didn't need to go anywhere else. But we learned it through different things that we've done. We can do the same thing in this industry, completely. And all we require is people like you sharing with us, this was what happened in LA. We say, really? Okay, bring it. Let's talk about it here. And we refine it and put it in the local market. And it would happen.
Just to add that this is actually very interesting. We're working with Lagos. It costs you about, say, 10 million. And you sell it, say, 10 million naira in this case. And you sell it for, say, 25 million naira. You make money, right? You're happy. Next, Netflix comes to you, or Amazon, or any of the streamers come to you and offer you, for the same quality of product, say, 100 million naira. You think you're making money, right? But they have bought the content and they have bought the intellectual property. The IP is also bought. right? So the president of African Bank said, why don't we set up Canex Creations Incorporated? That will come together, bring the producers together, market on their behalf, hold the IP on their behalf till life. How many of you know that Zangalewa was produced by the Cameroonian military band? How many people know? If you know, put up your hand. I was informed too when Zangalewa was produced. But when Shakira replayed it, she said she got an inspiration on the street. But it was produced by the Cameroonian military band, and I'm from Cameroon. Go on your phone now and type Zangalewa. Now, the IP, the intellectual property was gone. This is what is happening today. The streamers, they buy the content, they buy the IP. We are saying that we need to come together, and that is why Canex Creations Incorporated will be launched next year, so that not only the content will be sold and negotiated at appropriate pricing, but your intellectual property, where you produce the content, will be there for you for life. I just thought I should add this. Thank you.
May I just make a final?
Hello.
Baba, I just want to make a final point, just to support my brother, Eric. If our people are not educated, they will treat them the way they treated our forefathers through slave trade. They will buy that your intellectual property for next to nothing. You'd have wasted all your energy in life, and you won't make money. So this is all the issues around nation. You think you did well today, the same way they did with our oil in Nigeria. It's exactly the same. I'm saying this because we are seeing it in real life. They will tell you it's a good deal, the same way the foreign institutions did with our oil in Nigeria. And before you know it, 10 years, 20 years down the road, you say, wow, what happened? It was slave trade. Though. This time not with gun, but intellectually. So that's the point. So we need to train our people. Let's not make the mistakes of the past. The world is very cruel. But particularly, some of the creative minds may not be coming from backgrounds where they're exposed or may not have the financial resources as they put it initially. So anything appears to be okay. We need people to handhold all of these people. Otherwise, you sell what you have for nothing. And you ask yourself, wait a minute, whatever happened here is not very profitable. No. Go and talk to the top artists in the US. There's no mistake. No mistake. No mistake. Please.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I have the microphone. I'm Dr. Victor Okai. I'm the National President of the Directors Guild of Nigeria, and also the Chairman of the Heads of Guilds in Nigeria. I want to thank Chioma particularly for bringing this together and bringing this team together. And I also want to thank specially Dr. Albert Igwe. The reason I want to thank you is that I know that your passion is real. As far back as about 2 years ago at Radisson, at a panel with the MD of GT Bank, I know there was a little conversation, and when you were exhibiting your passion, he was sneering. And I looked at him, I was angered within, but I knew that time will show who is right. And I want to thank you for your consistency. Now, as to what we're here to talk about today, I want to draw from something that the Afrexim Bank representative, said or was talking about. See, the problem we've always had is that for a very long time, people keep looking at Nollywood with the old eye of the early days, forgetting that the young shall grow, and indeed the young has come of age. We see, and Dr. Igwe mentioned something about Netflix and the rest coming here and exploiting us. And the reason is simple. They keep using an excuse. They say, we're not together. And so they come in here and they selectively deal with people. They've been doing that for so long. Finally, the industry has come together, including the distributors, the exhibitors. I'm talking about Finwans, everybody is now under one umbrella. That's the umbrella I chair. You can talk to us. See, what you're talking about, you're dealing with individuals. It's gone on for too long. The people at the head of the guilds right now are as educated as any one of you sitting there. I make bold to say. You understand? And we can talk and we can engage. If you want to build capacity, the best way to reach the industry is through the guilds, because we can give you the numbers, we can bring the people. And if you want us to get better, the best way to do it is to talk to us. Okay? Now, if you pick people in isolation and deal with them, and they in turn deal with you at the end of the day, don't say Nigerians are bad. Okay? No, I say so. So I really would like, permit me, excuse me, I don't understand, sorry. So what I want to appeal is this. Please, in dealing with the industry, understand that now you can deal with the entire industry through representatives. It doesn't mean that the guilds are not the ones going to give you the projects, no. But it's important for engagement, it's important for capacity building, it's important for enlightenment, it's important for dissemination of whatever information that you have. We're ready, we're available, please take advantage of it.
Yeah, just a short answer to that. That's why I'm here. It's a two-way traffic. Come to us, we come to you. We have the same intention, we have the same objective. After we finish here, please let's exchange cards and let us understand how we can partner together. We have the likes of Wigo University, Access, other financiers who are willing to put resources with us together and see how we can harness. It's not my intention to go and be dealing with individuals, whereas I know that I can deal with an umbrella. It doesn't help me for risk management purposes. It doesn't help me. Let me go back to my brother was saying he would speak fast, so that I shouldn't say risk. So let's exchange business cards now, exchange numbers, and agree on what we can do together.
Thank you very much.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Cassandra. I'm a film producer and distribution and marketing strategist. Basically, I work with filmmakers to package their films in terms of financing, marketing, and distribution, not only for the local market, but also for the international market. So recently, I started working with a filmmaker, and I reached out to Afrexim Bank. I got a response, and they sent the requirements of the loan. And I couldn't help noticing that I feel like there's a difference between the reality on ground in terms of the cost of production, right, and in terms of the interest rates. I found that, so when we did, the revenue projection, the financing for the distribution and all that, and then comparing to what Netflix or an Amazon or Paramount would pay, there really wasn't, not realistic if we're going to be talking about profitable filmmaking, unless people want to create art for the sake of art, and art will be its own reward. But if I'm taking a loan, I want to be able to pay back that loan and still have profits. That's number one. Number two, there was no, moratorium. As a filmmaker, there's the period where you make your film. There's a period of post-production. There's a period where you have to wait for, because in Nigeria, you have few distributors that are the interface between us and the streaming platforms, right? Most of the streaming platforms don't work directly with us. So there's a time period. Sometimes it's 6 months, sometimes it's 7 months, sometimes it's 8 months. I've worked with films that we submitted, and it was a year later that it was being released. The loan period is going. You still have to start paying those loans, right? You're not given a grace period for, the loans. So I do think, I'm very happy with what Afrexim is doing. I know Park Capital has also done a couple of things, but I do think, you've also mentioned it, that there needs to be an education and a willingness to learn, because I find that sometimes bankers are very stubborn in the way they want to do things. You can explain to them, they're like, no, and they still treat it like it's, you go to Dubai or China, you buy things, you sell, and you pay back. That's how they treat film loans. And it's just not realistic. It's just not realistic. If you want to create content that, good quality, that even beyond Netflix, because you're always talking about Netflix.
I,
But there's
I
a whole
think
market
you
out
made
there.
a point. Let me answer the questions. You made two very useful points. In the interest of time, the first point is about pricing. Let me just explain, and it's very useful to that you raised this, and thank you for those questions. Pricing. Afrexim Bank is not a deposit-taking bank. We don't take deposit. That means you can't come in, open accounts, start deposit your money, and then we have free deposit. We go out there in Europe, America, Asia, and borrow and come. So there's a cost of fund, right? And then you factor in the cost of fund and whatever before you do the pricing. So our pricing sometimes, to be honest, is not very friendly. But for initiatives like this one, that we have a deliberate strategy, a standalone strategy for the creative economy. And we use the developmental impact that that particular movie or whatever transaction that you bring is going to bring to the country, to the economy, contribution to GDP, to seek exceptional approval for a pricing that will be commensurate to what you're looking for. So pricing should not discourage you.
In my comment, I want to suggest that the conversation should be such that we don't leave government out of it. Because the burden of government is to provide the enabling environment so that businesses can thrive. We may have started the business by ourselves through our resilience. It happened elsewhere, everywhere in the world. When America started drilling for oil, there was no structured arrangement for it until government intervened, and there was a structured arrangement, and things became better. As we speak, the government agency, National Bureau of Statistics, which is well represented, has said that the creative economy or the audiovisual industry is next to agriculture in terms of the job creation potential or indices. So if it is so, if we don't have regulatory frameworks, if we don't have organizational mechanism, then whatever effort government is doing that is not having a handshake with the industry, it will appear like we are inventing. You said it there that we don't need to, like the telegraph, invent all the mile telephone posts in order to have teledensity. If we had to do that, the GSM wouldn't have been of any use. I've held several conversations with Afrexim Bank, and recently the Vice Chairman, Chief Executive Awani, directed Frederick Seidu, and we have held meeting, and they have promised that they are ready to fund up to 80% any project that we are as government, because we are interested in exhibition and distribution. I was able to secure the interest of Eastern Cape Development Commission in South Africa, just like their friends, partnership, MTN. They are willing to come to Nigeria and start building about 500 screening homes every year. Now, how will that be possible if there is no participation or discussion with industry stakeholders? Well, we are working with ICRC so that there will be a PPP arrangement even with the local government that will provide the land. Now, if Afrexim Bank is going to fund up to 80%, it means that the local bank and the stakeholders here should be able to meet up with the 20%. As I speak, the French ambassador, who was here yesterday, when she came to my institute, which is the foremost national film institute, because we keep trying to reinvent the wheel. When the idea of film training in Nigeria was adopted by National University Commission, they came to Jos in order to take the template. So that converted. What I'm saying that the capacity is here, which has been set up by government over the years. But we tend to, forget and see how we can, strengthen it. Now that relationship with the French AFD brought over 100 million euros. It's been signed. It's called Ideas with the Ministry of Digital Economy. But it was promoted under us. through my relationship with AFD, so which is a creative economy. And so if we have this kind of conversation, so that the public should be able to know that there is need to have a handshake with government, it will go a long way to enable the potential to unlock what you bring on table. Like now I've just told you what Afro-Exim Bank is working with Nigerian Film Corporation. But our industry people need to know it. There is need for co-production agreement. There is need for tax rebate. We are holding our Zuma Film Festival this year in Abuja, which is an annual event. And the chairman of Inland Revenue, when we had our last sectorial meeting, agreed that there should be a policy for 35% rebate. That there should be a policy for 35% rebate. So if that is done, this idea of when you are shooting in Africa, you prefer to go to South Africa, we can have the enabling environment for that to happen. So I thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. I will give you my business card so that we'll continue the conversations.
All right. Thank you, everyone. We've gone almost an hour over.
Baba,
so
you
I have
to give
to
me
bring
time.
this to a close.
Baba, I have the mic. You haven't spoken. I said that.
Yeah, but it wasn't authorized. We put the number. Sorry. We already pointed out. Everybody's waiting outside. I'm so sorry. Honestly, sorry. We can continue it outside, please, because there's a session waiting to come in. Please.
Okay. All right.
Please. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, sirs. Thank you so much.
Sorry, thank you everyone. The next session will start in 5 minutes, please. 5 minutes.